So you're new to Genshin, you do a temple on the current banner. While you don't get a 5-star, you do get 4-star Yun Jin. Now what do you get with Yun Jin besides one of Liyue's most famous opera singers? Well, Yun Jin is a polearm wielding Geo user whose burst can actually buff your on-field character's normal attacks. And in this guide, we're going to talk about everything that you might need to know about Yun Jin, either for a player that is new to Genshin or just a player that is new to Yun Jin herself. So if you learn something, do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. With that being said, let's get into this video. So just like we do with every single one of these videos, we're going to look at the current build of the current character that we are currently using. One, it might be a look at a future build. Two, if this character is doing more or buffing more in this case, then it could just be the artifacts, it could be the weapon, it could be anything like that. This will just be a good way to tell where that difference is. Okay, so Yun Jin is level 70 out of 70. Max HP 15,600, attack 790, defense 880, which is one of the important stats for Yun Jin. Her crit split, 37/64, we're not too worried about that. ER, 185, that is another very important stat for Yun Jin. She is running a level 50 Favonius Lance. For artifacts, nothing special. We are going to talk about artifacts for her later on, but this Yun Jin doesn't have anything special. This is very much a work in progress Yun Jin. For constellations, she is C1, and that just means that her skill cooldown is going to be decreased, so I'll be using it a lot quicker. Her talents are 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so first we are gonna go look at Yun Jin's normal attacks, her skill, and her burst. All right, so her normal attacks are gonna be pretty standard, like there's nothing special about them. They do look pretty. She does have that like very fast kind of uppercut in them, but other than that, other than just them looking slightly different, there's nothing special with her normal attacks. And her charge attack is also standard for her polearm. It is the corkscrew variant where she just kind of spins and dashes, right? Okay, so now we're gonna talk about her skill. Her skill does have a press and a hold. If you just tap it or press it, she is just going to swing the polearm doing geo damage within a certain area. And that's really it for the press. Just swing the polearm, geo damage, get some energy back, right? The hold is slightly different. It has a charging mechanism where she is going to put a shield around her, and as damage is coming in, as enemies are hitting her, it is going to like charge the shield. If you get hit enough, if you do enough damage, which the absorption rate of the shield is based off of her max HP, then she will go to like what is called a level 2 attack with her skill, where it'll just do more damage. So as you can see, as she's holding it down, you're going to see more and more flags pop up as she is holding it down and charging, taking damage in. Now, her skill with one of her ascensions does gain a parrying mechanism, kind of like Beto's skill, where if you tap it as soon as she is getting hit, which is going to immediately take it up to level 2, and you're going to immediately get the most damage out of it. You don't have to sit there and hold it and charge it. You can just tap it at the right time, and it's going to get the max amount of damage for the skill. So now we're going to talk about her burst. And what she's going to do with her burst is she's going to do an instance of AoE geo damage. Now, you're also going to gain an effect where the normal attacks of your on-field character are going to be buffed based on Yun Jin's defense, which is why I said at the beginning, defense is important. So she is going to be a buffing character for you to use her burst, take her off the field, go to another character that is your on-field damage dealer that is going to be using their normal attacks to do their damage. In this instance, we are using Noelle as that on-field damage dealer. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a beginner artifact set for Yun Jin. So for a beginner or early game, you're going to want to do like a 2-piece Defender's Will to get up your defense, and then like a 2-piece Exile. Yun Jin does not produce a lot of energy with her skill, so having this extra energy recharge is going to be phenomenal for Yun Jin, and you'll still be able to use the Defender's Will 2-piece to get up her defense even more. For the main stats, you can run an energy recharge or defense percent sand, depending on your weapon and depending on if you're not using her burst as often as you want, maybe swap to an energy recharge versus defense. For Goblet, defense percent, right? For Circlet, defense or crit rate. If you are specifically using Favonius Lance, then you want a crit rate because of the passive of Favonius Lance will generate energy with a crit. So if you get her crit rate high enough, then this can increase the amount of energy that you produce. So now we're going to talk about some beginner-friendly weapons. Now, unfortunately, there's not very many 3-star polearms. One gets up HP percent, one gets up crit rate. Neither of them are too good for Yun Jin. There is a craftable weapon that you have the recipe to craft whenever you first start the game. And that is going to be the prototype Star Glitter. Now, while its passive isn't going to be too helpful, the main stat of energy recharge is. And if you can get enough energy recharge through like Exile set and this weapon, then you can run defense Sands. If not, then just run an energy recharge Sands and the defense and defense for the other two. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a beginner friendly party. We have Yun Jin, Noelle, Xiangling, and Kaya. Now, as we kind of showed earlier, Yun Jin is going to be buffing Noelle, who is going to be our on-field damage dealer. Kaya and Xiangling are both going to be off-field damage dealers with their burst, just causing melt reactions, adding a little bit of damage or a lot of bit of damage to the overall team's damage, right? Whereas you're going to be using Yun Jin's skill when you have the chance to use it, so that way you can get her some energy. And then you're going to be using Yun Jin's bursts along with Noelle's burst and skill, so that way you can get a ton of damage. You can get a big increase on Noelle's normal attack damage. Xiangling and Kaya are both going to be using their bursts off field just to increase the amount of damage. Like as you can see here, we're going to have Noelle on field using her skill, using her burst with Yun Jin's burst and Xiangling's burst and Kaya's burst. She's going to be running around doing a ton of damage, right? If you then just, whenever her burst is over, then you can just kind of go back and get everybody's burst ready to go again, right? Like you see Yun Jin's burst was pretty quickly ready to go. Kaya's burst was quickly ready to go. You could swap to Xiangling and drop Guoba first before going back to Yun Jin and Kaya, just to increase the amount of energy going around. Now, if you are not a beginner, if you have more characters, then you can swap out a lot of characters in this team, right? First, you could take out Kaya and put in Farina. Farina and Noelle actually do go together fairly well. Farina would add to the team damage. Xiangling would still be able to get vaporized reactions with her burst. Yun Jin would be able to increase Noelle's damage still. Noelle would be able to heal the whole team, so you don't have to really necessarily worry about Farina's blood-sucking minions dropping everybody's HP. Plus, you're going to have a ton of shields going around, which is going to help. Another character would be like Yoimiya. Yun Jin and Yoimiya go together very, very well because Yoimiya, after she uses her skill, uses her normal attacks. So Yun Jin is going to pair very well with any character that does their normal attacks a lot. Like I would take Farina out of this and I would put like Benny in there or something like that, right? Or I would take out Xiangling and put in Benny. You'd have to add in a healer with any team with Farina, but this video is about Yun Jin. Yun Jin will work well with any character that uses their normal attacks for the majority of their damage. So that is going to be it for this video on Yun Jin. If you did learn something, do be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video.